Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBOK 12:30 a.m.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Minnesota Somali American Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is firing back at President Trump over his immigration remarks on CBS's Face the Nation. Omar called Trump's comments disgusting.
This level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
The president claimed Somali immigrants have ruined Minnesota and said Omar should have never been in Congress. A grand jury has again declined to indict Black New York Attorney General Letitia James over mortgage fraud claims. Earlier charges of bank fraud and false statements were dismissed. James denies wrongdoing. And President Trump honored this year's Kennedy Center recipients at the White House Saturday, presenting medals to Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, and rock band Kiss. Country star George Strait and actor Michael Crawford were also recognized. Trump later joined the honorees for a State Department dinner. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's now time for Let's Elevate, the Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Let's Elevate Show. I'm Cary Grant.
And this is Arnie Philco. Hello, everyone. Good evening on this very nice evening in the great city of New Orleans. Cary, you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day, beautiful evening. Hope the weather can
and
hold
you
up
and
a little bit.
you and I had the chance to attend a beautiful event today.
Yes, we really did.
Over at Xavier University. It was the Presidential Advisory Board, and we were able to get almost an hour and a half of updates from President Verrett and the other Xavier leadership. And boy, it's just so impressive what they're doing at the university.
Absolutely. And Arnie, I just want to say this is a very proud alumni. It's great to serve on that board and great to get a little insight into some things, in advance and sometimes a little deeper detail than most people get, which is great. This university is doing great. And the perseverance through all these tough times is just incredible. They don't have any sense of we're going to stop fighting or we're going to stop moving forward with new programs and new ideas and whatever. And fundraising is going strong, and they need fundraising for a lot of things now because there are federal cuts and there are other things that have to be replaced by endowments and the like. But, people are stepping up to the plate, and I hope that more people, particularly in our listening audience, will do that. Even a small contribution will be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dr. Verrett, who's been in office now for, quite a while. I mean, nearly a decade, I think.
Yes.
It's just phenomenal what he's been able to do during his tenure. At some point, there's a very well-deserved statue of Dr. Francis. I don't have any doubt there will eventually be a statue of Dr. Verrett.
I think the two statues will be put next to each other, and it'll be Dr. Francis and he talking about all the kids that they've run through this place and done great things with. And one thing, Arnie, you and I are both, sports junkies, but the presentation about the sports here at the school, and particularly about the real scholar athletes, because it didn't occur to me until they mentioned it about people being in the NAI and that type of thing, not in the Division I type schools, but most of the athletes here know that they aren't going to go to the pros or anything like that. But this is truly that step for them to be student athletes, sometimes on scholarship, sometimes not, to give back to the community, which they demand of these kids, that they all do community service as well. And I mean, I thought that part was the most impressive of all the presentation.
It was really interesting. I did not realize the depth and scope of Xavier Athletics, but they've added 3 sports since the COVID time, and they're attracting really not just a national, a global audience.
Yeah,
Some of these sports they're recruiting from all over the world.
Yes, yes.
It was very, very impressive. And what Xavier represents, Dillard represents, is really the way athletics should be. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
it kind of goes back to a different era. I mean, where you
Sure,
don't have
sure.
NIL and transfer portals. And I mean, the term student athlete has the emphasis on the word student. And that,
yes.
that is what it should be.
I mean, I thought it was great. They talked about one of the best track stars in the last few years, and I forget the young man's name, but he's a triple jump and other champion, national champion, and he's got a master's. His master's work has been done in pharmacy and that type of thing. So, I mean, here's somebody who is going into a great field and going to be a real asset to society and also a great athlete. So, I mean, you know, this is a true student athlete who's done really well. The grade point averages in most of the sports are 3.5, 3.1, that type of thing. So, I mean, the kids are doing really well. They're giving back to the community, meeting with young people and working in different community service organizations and dealing with people like Son of a Saint, that type of thing. So I thought that
Amazing.
was very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be very proud. And
I am.
you know, as good as all those students are, they still got a way to go to meet the 4.0 of Cary Grant when he was coming through Xavier. But
well,
you know, you got to have a goal, you know, that you're setting here.
don't look too close at that transcript. It was good, but you know, it had a few holes in it.
Well, God, so much to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta talk a little bit about the Inspector General tonight and his report on
Yes.
the NOPD promotions. We got to talk immigration, but a couple stories I want to start with. You know, I don't know why I do this because I'm just hurting myself, but I sat and watched Fox last night and watched the president's affordability tour is what they call it.
God.
And it was, God, I mean, he covered 48 different topics like you've seen in town halls before. But I want to say this. The most ugly part of what I saw on TV, and I am not a fan of this person, but Representative Omar from Minnesota, who is a Somali American, was called out, has been called out.
Yes.
And look, you want to disagree with her politics and her stance, that's fine. I certainly do as it relates to Israel. But I have to tell you, the president went way beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically attacked the entire Somalian community. It was shameful. And I watched the people behind him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people observed it, but you know, when you have these rallies, I mean, these are all supporters, and they're gonna smile and cheer no matter what the president says. All right.
Yes.
But basically, it was scary. I mean, because you could have inserted, instead of Somalians, you could have inserted Hispanics or African Americans or Jews. That is just disgusting and not what we stand for or should stand for, Cary. It was, you know, it was just terrible. And to think an American president would get up and attack Americans. These are not illegals. These are Americans that live in the Minnesota area. It's just completely wrong. And I would hope any Democrats, any Republicans, any elected officials of good conscience would stand up and say enough is enough. That ugliness has no place in American politics or in our democracy.
Yeah, and Arnie, we know that the level of quote unquote debate is totally debased at this point, but the idea of thinking about, and we both are old enough to remember the Nixon years, to think about how people were shocked by tapes that had profanity on them in the Oval Office when Nixon and his aides were talking among themselves. And here's a guy, using profanity every other word about everything and saying all these ugly things and racist things. And people are just like, yeah, that's, he's just great. He's doing great. It's terrible that nobody comes out and speaks out against it.
No, it's like we have no leadership. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't come out and criticize that of attacking an entire community, I don't know what are you holding and waiting for?
Well,
I mean,
Well, I mean,
you know,
yeah, I mean, look, just look at it from this point of view. I agree with you totally about that part, but look at it just from the religious right, who's supposed to be so holier than thou, literally, and don't like profanity and all that. They aren't saying anything either. I mean, it's just on every level he's allowed to get away with this, and it just makes things much worse in the country and drives people into areas where we shouldn't even be dealing with those types of things.
well, and you may look. I think our listening audience may remember this. You may remember this. I mean, it wasn't long ago. It was a year or two ago that the president came out and said, we really ought to have more people from Sweden and Denmark. And
Yeah,
I mean, that was code language that we should not have dark-skinned people. All right,
absolutely.
And now when you look at the prohibition list of countries,
That's all.
I mean, almost every one of those countries is a country that has darker skinned people. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And, what people forget, and as a Jewish American, I'm very sensitive to this. It wasn't that long ago. It was, in the 1920s when there were quotas put on people, on the Irish, on the Italians, on the Jews, who maybe today might be more favored, but back then were not favored.
Right.
And,
right.
And those communities all over the last 100 years have come into America and made great contributions. And it's just, this is such a dark side. I mean, you may see this in Europe and some of the really right-wing countries that have, right-wing governments.
Yeah.
But I am still waiting for Americans to stand up, for God's sakes. And we're going to talk about that in the context of immigration tonight.
Sure.
But it's time we stand up and take back the country we want it to be. And, Cary, the good news is politics changing.
Yes.
Last night, for the first time in 30 years,
yes,
the mayor of Miami
right,
elected as a Democrat. Okay. Yes. That would never have happened because, as people may know, Miami has a lot of Cuban Americans,
right.
And the Cuban American community has largely supported the Republican Party.
Right.
Well, that changed last night, and Republicans better start getting their voice, because if they don't, they're going to find themselves out of government pretty soon here.
Well, the other thing too, like what you're saying about the immigration piece, lots of politicians are saying something, a little something, whatever, but not to the level they should be saying it, because it's the very same issue you talked about. But it seems like what people are missing out on is the government and the country is made up of the people, and the people are standing up for their fellow citizens, whether the politicians want to say anything or not. And in Miami, it's a clear example of people are standing up and saying, we don't like the regime that we have, and we want to change things. And it almost happened in Tennessee, in one of the reddest of the red areas, and this guy did not win by a landslide. So the handwriting's on the wall if you just look in total politics.
Well, the whole reason the president's out there on tour right now is
because of that.
This is basically a midterm tour. I mean, people have said to him, "You better get out there because we are in trouble here."
Yeah.
And interestingly, when other Republicans go out without the president, they really don't get the traction. It's really only when Trump goes out there that you find some of the MAGA movement rallying again and getting passionate. So amazing that he's starting in December on this effort. And I think it tells a lot about what the politics are going to be next fall when we get to the midterms.
Yeah, I think that the issue with him is his ratings are not what they once were. His whatever coattails or whatever are not what they once were. And as you and I said last night, I think everything right now hinges on this whole healthcare issue. And if that is mishandled, which I'm sure it will be, and even if it starts another government shutdown or whatever, but if it isn't dealt with and those premiums go up, he can go and speak to whatever groups he wants, but it's not going to make any difference. That will be the last linchpin to this whole thing. I think that is the third rail of everything that's happening. A person with a 34% approval rating across the board, he'll be in the 20s, and it won't be worth him going talk in your neighborhood because everybody will be up in arms at that point.
Well, the clock is ticking. We said it was 22 days last night.
Yes.
It's 21 days now.
Right.
And, and Congress leaves Washington in another week or so.
Right.
So let's see what happens. Again, I think there's an easy fix to the Affordable Care issue. Give them a 1-year extension, buy some time, and have both parties roll up their sleeves and actually do the hard work and find a better health care system.
Right.
But we'll have to see if that happens. Cary, really quick before our break.
Sure.
This is a weird story, but a guy named Cecil Roebuck applied for a permit from the NOPD a couple days ago and got a permit approved in order to do a parade on January 5 here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And today, the same person was arrested for alleged theft in 2022. Kudos to J.P. Morrell. J.P. had come out yesterday and basically said this is a real mistake, that this parade is a scam.
Yeah, I heard that.
Complete and total scam was his quote. And he was right. A day later, you had vendors of this guy, saying he had stiffed him on this money. He got arrested now. And just such a weird story, that a day later from the time NOPD had granted the permit pending payment, everything changed in 24 hours. And I guess the guy is, now in jail.
Yeah, so he won't be parading on the 5th of January.
No, I don't think so.
I had heard that before that he had some shadiness about all the stuff that he was putting together, and I heard JP say some of this type of stuff a while back, but I guess, who knows what had to happen in the interim, but I'm glad that they found this out before this guy scammed a bunch of people out of money for a parade and then left town or whatever he was going to pull.
Yeah, I don't understand, but we've seen this in New Orleans before where somebody has a problem, a criminal problem.
Yes.
And instead of basically kind of hiding and going home, they want to go public with it. They want to run. We had a guy, as you remember, the communications director.
Yes.
Who had that traffic accident. Decided he wanted to run for mayor, for God's sake.
Right.
I don't know about other people, but look, if I have a problem like that, the last thing I want to be is a public official. I want to go back to being as private as I could be.
I think that, something about the Mississippi down here in the delta of the Mississippi River has something to do with that, because New Orleans has had a rich and colorful history of con men and scam artists since a French first came over the hill. So it's a long-term tradition, but it is very baffling, Arnie. I agree with you. With some of these people, you would think they would be running for cover, leaving town with it. They get more emboldened and want to be on television, literally. So it's
right.
weird.
And the funny part, and maybe it's not funny, just the irony, is that it was called the Mystic Kings Parade.
Yeah.
And the parade was meant to celebrate the biblical kings who traveled to Bethlehem at the birth of the baby Jesus.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that Jesus or anybody would necessarily approve of this guy's past in history or him invoking their name in order to do a parade in New Orleans. Only in New Orleans, honestly, could something like this even happen.
And also, I mean, I didn't understand this part, but, he wanted to skirt around some other laws to get in front of the Mardi Gras season, so to have a parade before Mardi Gras season. So I'm going to say shame on you to the police department. We don't need another parade. We sure don't need parades before we have 33 parades for Mardi Gras.
No.
Please look at
not,
that.
Well, especially not with a budget that is 200 million less than it was.
Just let's
we
look at that.
We definitely don't need that.
We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
season's greetings from our family at the Blues Buffet.
Hey, this is Jay Boogie with the Blues Buffet. You know, Christmas Day is special and so is the music. So get ready for a family feast of sound. It's the special Christmas edition of the Blues Buffet, playing your favorite holiday classics for the entire family. Tune in Christmas Day at 3 p.m. for the best Christmas music mix on the planet. That's on AM 1230 WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
This week on The Way Forward, Dr. Samantha Francois of the Foundation for Louisiana will chat with me about the Louisiana Justice Fund, which supports criminal legal system initiatives and reforms. Plus, I'll have your good news, information you can use, and my Go Forward message. Join yours truly, Eddie Francis, Saturday at 3 p.m. on The Way Forward here on 1230 a.m. or streaming live at WBOK1230.com and the Play Ode app on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Late nights are made for chilling, and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Ho, ho, ho! I'm D. Riley, host of the 90s Hits, inviting you to kick it with me this Christmas night at 7 p.m. I'll be playing all your favorite R&B jams from the 90s, plus your Christmas favorites, right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer. Hey, it's D. Riley of the 90s Hits, wishing you and your family a happy holiday season.
WBOK, online at WBOK1230.com.
The Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
And we are back.
Well, Cary,
yes.
Thought we'd talk for a couple minutes about the Inspector General's
yes.
Decision today.
Mm-hmm.
This story goes back almost a year, I guess.
Yeah.
But people may remember there was a process to promote members of the NOPD to upper ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And there had been promotions made, but they were stopped. There was an allegation that there were internal problems with the promotion. Chief Kirkpatrick from the NOPD basically put everything on hold pending investigation.
Yeah.
The Inspector General got involved in the process, and today the ruling came down from the Inspector General that there was nothing that occurred wrong in the process, that the promotions were valid, they should take hold. That's what was ruled upon. Now, there's a backstory to all of this. And sometimes I got to say, I talked about this last night, that we in New Orleans love conspiracies. We love to think there's something going on behind the scenes that is not right and such. But sometimes 2 + 2 actually does equal 4. Okay. And in this case, the two people that were promoted happened to be two people that also investigated Jeffrey Vappy.
Yeah.
And his payroll issues, his relationship with the mayor, all of that. And basically what came out of this today was, other than it sounds like the mayor, okay, no other complainants came forward, even under a confidential process, to suggest that there was anything that was done wrong here on these promotions. And again, when I say sometimes 2 + 2 = 4, why is it so hard to actually conclude that this investigation was kind of led by Mayor Cantrell in order to punish the two officers who investigated the Vappy situation?
Yeah.
That seems to be the most obvious, on its face conclusion of this. Now, if people want to add new wrinkles into this and elements and say that's not, there's more going on, okay, that's fine. But at least on its face, you have to give some credence to the fact that an investigation was done by the Inspector General. Nobody came forward to suggest that there was any wrongfulness to all of this. And it just appears, and the mayor won't talk about it. She was given the opportunity to weigh in. She says, I don't have anything to say. I mean, you kind of got to jump to the conclusion, I think, that, this was retribution for two police officers who did their job, who were supposed to be investigating Vappy. They did their job, and they were punished for it. I don't know. That's how I see it, Cary, and I know others may feel differently.
Yeah, I think that this is like you said about the previous story. I mean, this is a very weird take on things because it seems like it was all okay, and it was only one grievance was filed or one set of circumstances was looked at, and everything else pretty much has stayed the same completely. And these promotions have happened, and doesn't seem like anybody else was involved in anything else. So, it's a pretty sad thing that you had to go through all of this effort to come to the conclusion that everything was done fine and that everything's okay. And that's basically what it boiled down to.
Yeah, and there's a human element to this. I mean, you have two officers who, who apparently have done a good job and
right.
Deserve to be promoted, and they were held up because of a side issue. And again, I'm so sorry that I have to keep sounding like I'm so negative on Mayor Cantrell, but this isn't if this is actually what occurred here, and it's an if. I'm using that word. I mean, that's not becoming of a leader of a city. I mean, that's just personal and ugly and should not happen. And if that's not the case, I sure wish more people would come out then and say, no, there was really something negative going on here. But that's not occurred. And the IG gave ample opportunity for people to come out confidentially. They didn't have to divulge themselves. And nothing came out of it. And
I think that
the shame is, Cary, it is. I don't know what to think of our police chief on this. I mean, basically, she deferred to the mayor. She held it up.
Yes.
And today we find out that there was nothing behind it, and it's kind of a black eye in the NOPD, to be honest.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think that this was a single grievance. As you said, there were plenty of opportunities to voice those grievances, get deeper into those grievances, whatever they may have been, and that was never done. But the idea of a police chief stopping something to investigate themselves or to have other people investigate something, that a process that's been going on for a long time and that takes a long time to do and is been checked out by the courts and everybody, that to be on the up and up, because nobody wants anything to happen to police officers' promotions that can be challenged in court or, doesn't happen in the right way. And everything seems to have happened in the right way, except, like you said, the chief going along with, let's hold this up to see what's going on when you've already gone through the process. I mean, that was not the way to handle it.
And I have to say, it reflects a flaw in our governance system, because the police chief serves at the pleasure of the mayor.
Yes.
And it's very hard to buck your boss in any job, okay?
Yes.
It's not easy to do that. But again, the problem is twofold. Number one, the people that were negatively affected, that had their promotion delayed, these are human beings that are doing their job and doing it well, and that should not happen to them. You should have a merit-based system where people get, upward movement because they do a good job. The other fact is what kind of confidence within the ranks. I mean, we're down to 900 officers. Right. We need to elevate up to 1,200. And, what kind of message does this send, to people already on the force or people we're recruiting?
Well, it's really good that the thing came out the way that it did, to be totally honest with you, because that, you talk about conspiracy theories in all the years of working in city government, it was always a conspiracy theory about police chiefs being influenced by mayors and freaking promotions and all that kind of thing. And I'm telling you, if that had been proven to be true, or stopping somebody from getting promoted from a political point of view, morale and everything would have been a real problem, and you would have seen the officers leave the force. I guarantee you that would have happened.
Yeah, but in many ways, Kerry, that is what happened. I mean, you basically had, the officers have to go through this process of delay because there was a complaint filed.
Yeah.
And, it's just not the way it should work.
No,
the reality is,
not at
first of all, no mayor, it doesn't matter what mayor is sitting in office, no mayor should be intervening into the inner workings of promoting police officers.
Of any department, really, especially not the police. Yeah, I agree with that part. That is absolutely correct. That is a morale buster for sure. And people did not, there's sheriff's offices and things in the state that are all political appointments and that type of thing. If somebody wanted to be in that type of department where it was totally set up like that, they probably joined that type of department. But in the police department, they want to have some modicum of there's not going to be political influence on these things.
Right. And I will say this, the system is changing. I mean, you remember this is, the city council has passed new laws now that, they're going to have a bigger say over department heads.
Yeah.
That work for the city. They're going to have to approve them. And as it relates to the police chief, there's much more involvement, starting in the new year, of the council overseeing the chief in case the chief is fired. Look, the police chief of any city has to have some sense of independence. I mean, that's how you do the job.
Right.
So let's hope that will happen here.
Yes.
All right. Want to transition a little bit in the topic of immigration?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. It just seems to get worse and worse by the day here in the New Orleans area. What you're seeing on TV of federal officials running after, residents of our community. Such a small percentage of the arrestees have criminal records. It's just shameful. And, I think there's a couple things that I'd like to know. First of all, it is nice to see elected officials have courage. And, it might be easy for Democrats here in New Orleans, because we're a Democratic city, to take a strong position on this and talk about immigration and go and really, attack what's happening. But I want to give a shout out to our Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser, who's a Republican, because he came out today in as strong a language as I've ever seen and really condemned what's happening here in our community.
That's great.
He said it's not right. He said it is hurting businesses all over the greater New Orleans community because our employees are scared. Here in New Orleans, here in Jefferson Parish, they're scared. They're not going to work. They're not going to school, sending their kids to school.
Right.
And, that has a real economic effect, on our small businesses and on our community, our economy in general here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is everybody knows about the restaurants and the different places like that, and particularly we're a hospitality area that are being affected. But there's also hundreds of small businesses that employ people who are Hispanic or from other countries. And some people who may not have all their immigration stuff straight. I've heard of people myself who have employees who are in the midst of the immigration process, which has been stopped, halted, whatever, and they're worried because they're in the process, but things haven't been finalized. So there's small businesses, landscapers, and all kinds of people who are really suffering from this. So it is across the board, up and down, from the largest companies here to the smallest companies, and the lieutenant governor is absolutely correct. This is the economic woe that's being put on people, and particularly it's amazing and terrible that this is happening anywhere in the country. But remember, we're in New Orleans, and we're in the New Orleans area in Louisiana, and we're being burdened with this as the new PR stunt during the Christmas holiday and all of that. The very time when there's supposed to be a lot of joy and a lot of things going on, a lot of people going out to dinner for Christmas and that type of thing. And, you know, the staff is not there or whatever. It's just, it's a horrible time of year to do this. And it's horrible, period. But it's really very, very impactful at this point.
Well, it certainly is. And I hope our listening audience will get involved in this issue.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of things that you can do to make your voice heard. And you know, one of those is give us a call because we want to hear from you. 504-582-9422. But there are just certain things that are right and wrong. You know, what our mayor-elect has asked, and, you know, there was an article today, and, you know, legally she has limitations here because federal law largely takes precedence over state and local law. So there's only so much other than a bully pulpit that you can do.
Arnie, we have a caller who's probably calling about this. Let's get to them.
Great.
Hello, Piper.
Hey, good evening, guys. How's it going?
All right. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Good evening.
Great. And yes, I'm calling about this subject. I think one of the things that troubles me most, and hopefully I'm wrong, is that, you know, we haven't seen the worst yet. Because when these guys say they have a quota for 5,000 arrests in the 2 months they're going to be here, the moment you put a quota on things, I'm going to get my numbers up any kind of way I want. And the big thing is you have people here who are legally haven't committed any crimes, but because of their brown skin, and for some of the other black people who think it's not about them. Well, when they're looking at Haitians and Somalis as well, when we're targeting anyone that'll fit any of those groups, and then we'll sort it out later. But I think that's the one thing folks don't understand. It's a traumatic experience to just be grabbed off the street, handcuffed, zip tied, whatever, and just taken someplace
and disappeared
until we decide, okay, we can let you go or you're cleared. But the other part is, and then when you have private institutions that we contract with to detain people, well, if I'm paying you to detain people, I need people there. I need people in those beds so we can pay you because that's what you're getting paid off of. You know, beds and or heads in those beds. So I pray that I'm wrong, but I think as it gets closer to this 2 months expiring, you know, it's only going to get worse.
You're right.
And it's bad now, but I think it'll get worse, and that's unfortunate that we can't say, okay, hey, Piper's a bad guy. Let's go get him. And we don't have to terrorize the whole community. We know Piper's the drug guy. He's the gang. He's the violent offender. Let's just go get him. Our intel says, because if we have intelligence that can say 11 people on a boat in Venezuela are drug dealers, we should have intelligence to say Piper's the bad guy in Algiers. Go get him.
Absolutely. Yes, so, you're correct.
Totally right, Piper. Fully agree with what you said. And
thank you.
Thank you. And you're right. I mean, the scary part is we're only a couple weeks into this thing. I mean, they haven't, you know, the number of arrests, it doesn't even come close to 5,000. And, you know, we could have federal border control and ICE here for months.
Right.
And, you know, look, this is what the city asked for. It asked for an accounting of all arrests and all custodial situations. We need to know the numbers, and then we need to know of those that have been arrested, how many of those actually have a criminal record.
Right.
You know, if you're an MS-13 member, if you're a member of a Venezuelan gang, okay. I mean, look, I think everybody, you know, would like to see those people out of our community. But that's a small fraction right now of people being affected. And, you know, it is much more about color of skin than and what language you speak than it is about your criminal record. And, you know, we talked about we talked about this ad nauseum, and others on the station have as well. There's a reason that all of us, you don't have to be Hispanic, all of us, African Americans, Caucasians, everybody should be saying no. We should be saying this is ridiculous, not acceptable, and we're not going to tolerate it. And sometimes it's hard to hear all those voices.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Piper. Thank you for calling.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thanks, Piper. Yeah, Cary. I mean, that's Piper makes some great points.
He's absolutely correct. I mean, in other places where they've fought it with legal issues and those type of things, this has they haven't got anywhere near any quotas of any kind, and the quotas shouldn't even be involved in arresting people. And as we know, Arnie, we said this many times on the show, the very kinds of people who they claim they're after, lots of people know where these people are, know what's going on, and none of those people seem to be being affected by this. No, when they're going to some random apartment complex and messing with some young lady who's walking down the street from the store, she is not a MS-13 gang member who's killed millions of people. They are not going after those people. The lie of all this thing is they are not going after the very people they claim they're going after. If you were going after some of the type of people they're talking about, judges would give you warrants to go get those people. So I mean, it's
right.
Just,
well, and
it's
a lot of times they're stopping people not based on warrants signed by judges, but they're basing it on administrative warrants. All an administrative warrant is basically a piece of paper signed by the Border Control.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
I mean, there's no accountability for that or due process or any of that.
Arnie,
is why
we have another caller. Let me get to them right quick. Hello, D.
Yeah. Hi, Arnie and Cary. I wanted to do a little bit of history because I was in the military. And I served in the U.S. Navy for 6 years. And I went in during the 70s. And I wanted to tell you something that I was taught by the United States Navy. And every sailor could tell you this also.
Yeah.
We have the military, yes. And most people say the military is to defend the United States. Well, that's what we thought when we went into the U.S. Navy. We said, well, that makes sense. Yeah, you need a military. What we were told when we got in the U.S. Navy, the number one job of the United States Navy is to keep the shipping lanes open around the world. That's the number one mission of the United States Navy. Yes, we're supposed to defend the United States, but the number one mission is to deter piracy around the world because commerce is so important for the world, for everybody to be able to work with each other. And that was the number one goal of the United States Navy. So we started scratching our head. We're like, well, wait a minute. So in other words, they were saying every United States naval ship was on a goodwill tour to travel to different countries. Now, fast forward, what the United States used to do, and they're not doing it too much anymore, was they gave third world countries a stipend. So by the United States giving these smaller countries a stipend, those smaller countries say, yes, you could park your naval ship here. You can open up a base here because we're giving them a stipend. Our U.S. Congress started saying, hey, why are we giving our good hard-earned money to these third world countries? So Congress started cutting the purse strings of the third world countries. Guess what happens when those third world countries start getting hungry?
Yeah.
They're going to show up at the border in groves. So I would blame, this is just me, because of the history I've been through, I would blame the U.S. Congress for cutting the purse strings to all of these third world countries, because now you've got a border problem that's the magnitude is incomprehensible because those people are starving. Their country don't have a lot of natural resources. And if they did, big countries like the United States would go in there and rob them blind anyway. But the biggest thing for the military was to establish goodwill around the world so that when you come into those countries, yes, oh, you're American. Oh, man, look, we love you. Now, with this administration, they've cut the purse strings and they can't understand why they have all these people at the border. Those people are starving.
Yeah.
Those people don't have anything. So guess who's got everything? The United States. So here they come. And believe me, man, look, all you have to do is go through history. History is going to repeat itself, and we're going to get through this. And me and my older brother, we talk about this a lot. This too shall pass, because you only had one Hitler, you only had one Mahatma Gandhi, you only had one MLK, you only had great people and bad people. And this administration is just in our lifetime. We got this person in office. There's not going to be another person like this running the country ever again. They're going to be somebody that's going to try.
You hope
There's
not.
going to be somebody that's going to try to be an MLK.
D, we have to take
Somebody's
a break.
going to try to be a John Kennedy. But those people only come around once in a lifetime, a Muhammad Ali.
D, we have to take a break, man.
Say that.
Thank you so much for
Thank
the call.
you for the call and your perspective. Very
We'll be right
interesting.
back.
Hey WBOK family, Ron Richardson here, host of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Join me this Saturday live from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. as I welcome Mr. Eric T. Lewis, entrepreneur and mental health advocate. He will be joining me to talk about mental health and black men right here on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. Please tune in, and thanks for your continued love and support. And remember, healing and recovery start with you.
'Tis the season to be compassionate and joyful. Be sure to spend your Christmas day with us at WBOK as we bring to you 24 hours of commercial-free holiday music, beginning at 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve and all day on Christmas. Let WBOK bring joy and happiness to you with our holiday music on this festive occasion. You can tune in at WBOK 1230 AM and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com. Happy holidays to you and yours from everyone here at WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
On Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, here's a snippet of some of what we cover. GPS pioneer Gladys West.
We worked long hours computing trajectory orbits and satellite orbits, trying to get the data and everything correct enough.
Auto analyst Mark Bland.
14 new vehicle deals that happen in this country out of every 100 that women don't have a fingerprint on.
To tune in, check out Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of The Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch The Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
This is Mr. Rocky at FIJTC. This is the season that many people around the world is celebrating the miraculous birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Faithers in Jesus the Christ here at WBOK is hoping you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
The Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
And we are back for our last segment.
Yeah, Cary, it's so interesting to get perspectives from our callers. You know, when the last caller made his comments, I mean, yeah, it's a little shocking that people go into the military and you're being told that your major objective is to keep the economy alive and shipping it over.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure that I want to send my son or daughter, to harm and put them in harm's way for that. I mean, defending America, defending against terrorism, yes, but I'm not sure that the other reasons should be the primary reason of why you are defending courageously our country.
But I think that all of those jobs or all of those duties are part of the defense of the country, defense of, we have a lot of alliances
They
with
are,
other people
yeah.
around the world. I mean, but what he's saying basically, what was very important is you can't just arbitrarily cut off ties with people, cause all this confusion, cause people to hate your country and everything, and expect nothing to happen in return. And I think we're reaping the whirlwind of all of those bad policies that are happening. And I think,
well, you got to,
just the fact that people are being told that they're from these blankety blank countries and they're dirty and they're scum and all this stuff. I mean, that doesn't bode well for people to say, oh yeah, we want to do business with you. We want to do whatever with you. I mean, you're creating havoc, and the havoc is starting to catch up with everybody in this country. And I think people have to understand, when like today, when the Fed does another 0.25 of percentage, it's not going to solve all the problems of the world. It's not going to make the price of eggs go down. Trump can go around and tell you that, the economy's booming and everything's wonderful, but people know what's on their dinner table and what's in their pocket. So I think that people have to understand all of those things, tariffs, everything, are causing all of these issues with everybody.
Well, I would just love to see some consistency. And I think, the hallmark of this administration on foreign policy has been
to
just
change
a
every
complete
day.
lack of consistency.
Yeah,
You don't know one day who we're supporting,
It
who we're
changes
against.
every day, absolutely.
And you just can't conduct the country that way. Cary, in the last couple of minutes, I just want to make this point on the immigration front.
Yeah.
Not only is the stuff that's happening here wrong and scary, but we need to keep an eye on our Supreme Court rulings on some major issues. And, when I'm reading that birthright citizenship
yes.
is potentially being challenged and the Supreme Court's taking it up, or that, dreamers under DACA, may not be permitted to stay here. I mean, these are fundamental, huge issues,
yes,
that affect our country and affect a significant percentage of our citizenry. We gotta be awake, folks. And again, I mean, who was it, Piper, that said it really well?
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you are. You're an African American, a Caucasian, or it doesn't matter. When you see this kind of garbage and kind of discrimination and bigotry, I mean, lend your voice. I just say this, I'm going to internalize this for a second. I'm so disappointed with some of the members of the Jefferson Parish leadership.
Yes. Yes.
They have stayed so silent on this issue.
The protesters were outside of the council chamber today, and I mean, I don't think they even let them inside, which is totally un-American. It's just
you have the largest percentage of Hispanics in Jefferson Parish,
right?
And these are your citizens, for goodness sake.
Absolutely. And you haven't said a word. I mean, as you said about the mayor-elect and, Congressman Carter and even former Mayor Morial and other people coming out making heavy statements about this, even like you said, Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, but the people who live in that parish, the people in Kenner and everything, they have heard nothing from their leadership, nothing to say, even to look out for them, even to say, let's tone it down about how bizarre these raids are or whatever. They haven't said anything. And that's just, that's heinous. That's heinous.
It is. At a time when our new mayor-elect and others have been talking about more of a regional approach to issues, I mean, here's an easy one. I mean, you don't discriminate against people. If you can't handle that one, how are we going to handle transportation and other regional topics? So
that's right. Yeah.
Maybe they'll change, Cary. Maybe they'll see the light. And again, kudos to Billy Nungesser, our lieutenant governor, for having the courage to speak the truth, the word here.
That's good. I'm glad he did that. Well, this is it for tonight, Arnie. This is a great show. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see you all tomorrow evening.
All right, everybody, have a great evening. Be safe out there. See you tomorrow night.